Good morning, digital world. It's Data Viz Bob here with a quick and convenient introduction to higher order graph edges. Sounds complicated, but it's very simple. This video is dedicated to Hugh Fulcher, who asked, why would we want to turn first order graphs into higher order graphs? And he's studying presumably hard for the Data Viz exam here at Swansea University. But before I answer his question, I'm going to take a step back and make a nice self-contained little introductory video on the topic. Yeah. So let's look. So what's a graph? Yeah. So I'll draw a graph. A graph is a set of nodes. I'm drawing a very, very complicated graph. So a graph is a set of nodes. That's a very complicated graph. Very popular graphs, by the way. And a set of edges that connect the nodes. So that's a graph. So this is a sort of a typical graph, let's say, and these are supposed to be straight edges. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nodes and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 edges, right? And the edges are straight, or they're supposed to be straight. Now this is called an undirected graph because there are no there's no explicit directionality encoded in the edges. So just to make it a little bit more intuitive, we're going to turn it into something called a directed graph, where we're going to give the edges a direction. So I'm going to draw arrows on the edges like this. Those are 3 arrows, and they're pointing this way towards the center node. And then I'm drawing more arrows this way. Right, so now that's a directed graph. So there's a transition from this node to the center node, this node from the center node, and so on. And then there are 2 more transitions from the center node to the outside nodes. And we can call that, if we want, a first order directed graph. Now, this is very useful and it's very common and it's used a lot. But one of the drawbacks, so let's say the limitations, is let's say we're at this node and we want to find out where data has come from, or maybe we want to find out where we're connected. More than one node, more than a distance of one node. So let me see if I can explain that a little bit better. If I'm making a transition from the center node to the outer node here, it would be nice. What if I wanted to know where the transition came from 2 nodes away? There's an ambiguity here. If there's a transition from here to here, I might want to know, okay, if I want to know the transition 2 nodes back, was the origin here, here, or here? And I cannot tell that using these straight edges. I don't know if there's a transition, 2 transitions from here to arrive at this node, from here to here to arrive at this node, or here to here to arrive at this node. So we can resolve that ambiguity with curved edges. So I'm going to try to draw the same nodes again. So 1, 2, 3, and a center node, and these two. So those are theoretically the same nodes again. But now I'm going to draw the edges in a different way using curves. So if I can draw an edge like this now. And if I make my curves nice, I can now see that there's a transition from this node to this node, a distance of 2 units away. If this was a perfectly straight edge, I wouldn't be able to resolve that ambiguity. I can do it again, like this. Let's see if I can do this in a logical way. And now I have another transition. It's a distance of 2 away. But now I can see there's a path, a directed path from this node to this node that traverses the center node, and there's no ambiguity there. So I can trace connections that are a distance of 2 nodes or more separated. And these are called higher order edges, or curved edges, or smooth edges. And so they provide one advantage in the fact that you can now visualize transitions that are more than 2 units away. But there's a drawback too, and it makes the graph more complicated. So I might want to draw another one like this. So that's, again, 2 transitions. I might want to draw an edge like this. Right, that shows those 2 transitions. And I might want to draw an edge like this that shows those 2 transitions as a possibility. Right, so it resolves the ambiguity of where transitions occur more than 1 unit away. That's the reason we would want to use higher order edges in graphs. So we might want to use higher order edges in graphs. So I hope that answers your question, Hugh. If it doesn't, let me know. So that is a very quick and convenient introduction into higher order graph edges. In 2005, I was able to meet a very, very gifted PhD candidate called Jorik Blaas, who at that time was studying at the Delft University of Technology in the Netherlands, who was presenting a paper at the IEEE Visualization Conference in 2005 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And he was actually presenting a paper he published as a master's student at the time. So that was a huge shock to me. You know, it's not very easy to publish a paper at this conference, and then to do it as a master's student is very, very unusual. Anyway, Jorik did some brilliant work on this topic and presented it at the IEEE Visualization Conference in 2009. So if you want to know more details about how this could be used, I'm going to put a link to Jorik's work in the comments so you can find out more about that. It's good stuff. Oh, by the way, I have a copy of Jorik's PhD thesis right here, and it's signed. Thanks for watching.